Yabo kwaba from Adom TV, Premotobre Kasee no so afa yenya brena yentie said ensam ni twemu ankasa etie Ghana mampani na adodankwa Akufo-Addo anura wona ne manfo hia di enkomo kire ye woman Ghana mu Covid-19 womo ewo bie sesia pa no ye ka mampani se ejina 1847 wodin sam no eto edwano ne nkasa mu no womo a recover no hamunchemu aduokono enum ena wonya bi nanso nyame adom won ho atumi ato womo cases ya record yes say no 40,567 ya womo ho atumi ato womo ye ka womo ho ato womo a eno no ensam no Adom TV edeba
Ghana mampanyi adodankwa Akufo-Addo adane de sesei enipa wonum enya coronavirus yare ni bi ewo man mu no eya apem baako aha wotwe ene aduanan enson wode tuja sesei enipa won ho atimi ato wo mu coronavirus yare no ho no ejino hamu nchichemu aduokunu num ya eno kyese enipa empem aduanan ahanum ene aduosia enson ena sesei won ho ato wo wɔkyere mu a sesei enipa wonum ewo north east savannah Upper East and Upper West Mantem Honedie, and Yadia will be our COVID-19 Yareni be ewo.
As of Saturday, 15th August, 3 weeks later, the number of active cases stands at 1,847. This is a clear indication that government policies are working. Currently, there are no recorded COVID-19 cases in the Northeast, Savannah, Upper East, and Upper West regions. And I charge their residents to do everything possible to maintain that situation. Thus far, a total of 40,567 persons have recovered from the virus. This means our recovery rate has improved from 89.5% to 95.1% in 3 weeks.
Okosua eka Ghana for say biankoso na COVID-19 hyehyeye no woni so sene bea yare no obetimi etu ase akura.
Our health workers will forever be in our debt for the dedication they have put in to ensure these impressive statistics. We can help them even further by continuing to adhere to the social distancing and hygiene protocols we have instituted to stem the tide of infections.
Wasan so editu ja say hwehwemu bi a omampanyinfo eyeye no edane de say enipa dodo na ene wo face mask bie nanso anya de a wonom ehye anaso mpo say wonom enhye ne yie kura.
With 82% of persons surveyed possessing a mask, I believe we can do even more and better and reach 100%. However, the same survey demonstrated that only 44.3% of those who have the mask use them correctly. I urge each and every one of us to wear our masks and do so correctly anytime we leave our homes.
Yantoa mampani kasaya no so na no so sade to ye nim kire mo August bosome de to so adonu nai eye university fo a womo ewomu dada no wo betumi akọ na fei womo akọ akosua ade ni nyina no hyehyɛ ahodo wo ho mo de atona kwan so sebe ya womanfo akyerɛkyerɛfo school fo womo de bebo ho ban free yade coronavirus.
Nanu kwasiada ebra mampanyi adodankwa Akufo-Addo ene Ghanafo enya nhyiemudi a etoso dunum no wode tuja se efi August busumi ne da etoso aduonu nan no adesuafo a wonom ewosuapo mu ebehya ase akwakoto wonom adesua so.
After consultations, the decision has been taken for continuing students in these tertiary institutions to return to school on 24th August to finish their academic year. Just as was done for final year students who return to school, government through the Ministry of Education and the Ghana Education Service will ensure that all these tertiary institutions are disinfected. Universities will be equipped with the necessary personal protective equipment, and those with their own hospitals and clinics will have isolation centers to deal with any positive cases. All other institutions without their own clinics and hospitals will be mapped to health facilities.
nkitahodie ni mu no ɔmanpanyin ɛsan so de to dwa sɛ wɔne enipa bi a wɔnom ka bi a ɛwɔ mu ɛwɔ adesua ho nsɛm mu eguso a ɛyɛ nhyiamudie na ɔmahwɛ bere a obetumi ɛde abie school ama adesuafo akɔ akosua wɔnom adeɛ.
The Ministry of Education continues to engage the Ghana Education Service and all relevant stakeholders to conclude discussions on the modalities surrounding the opening of our pre-tertiary schools. I will communicate in due course the decisions that will be reached from these consultations. You can be rest assured that I'll always take into prime consideration the safety and well-being of our children, teachers, and non-teaching staff in the decisions that will be taken, because I'm determined to ensure that the education of our children is not unduly disturbed by this pandemic.
Premotobre Kasee na gusua o shadow yento aso mampanin kasa enra one ne manfo di ho enkomo no no ode ato aso ye share gender children and social protection eso se nyame eya Adom 24th edikosi 18 September won share na junior high school final year students no yema womo aduane ye papa hot meal a day sabe ya de ebebo won ho ban fi se wonya no nti se enkura no komo de womo na coronavirus ho so she womo ni so efi se komo nti ni ade sabe ye entempetente ena mampani aye san hye ya Adom TV edeba
Omampani Adodankwa Ekufuado ashe Ministry of Gender, Children and Social Protection say if August bosumi Midday etoso aduonu 9 edikosi September bosumi etoso du woche no enkoda ya wonum ewo junior high school eni wonum adumayefo nyina no sesei omomode asede bia no obema wonum aduane edi.
As a result of reports I have recently received that some final year JHS students were going hungry in complying with COVID-19 protocols, I've just instructed the Minister for Gender, Children and Social Protection to begin preparations to ensure that as from 24th August up to 18th September, all 584,000 final year JHS students and 146,000 staff, both in public and private schools, be given one hot meal a day. This is to ensure full observance of the COVID-19 safety protocol.
Science said to just say, Sabri mu coronavirus area no etu etise o wiase afana nyina no wogidi se amani padodo na ana akwa ahokyere mu eno nti eniama ahodo a aban ede kyeche no enye se bia wahyeda eno de kyeche ne mum e aban ne mu a obetimi ede aboa ne manfo.
I know that the pandemic has adversely affected many lives and livelihoods. It is for this reason the government has implemented several measures, such as free water and electricity, and funding to support small businesses, and tax relief, amongst others, to cushion the effect of the pandemic. We are not providing freebies. We're providing critical help to households, families, and businesses in the midst of this pandemic because we care. It is my conviction that in times of crises, it is the duty of a responsible and sensitive government to protect the population and provide relief.
Now, what's answering we more no? Yeshe ni mo Ghana National Association of Private Schools. Yene wamo penny phone mu bi bekasa yenya won. Si yenya won mu ade won so hunu asemi efa ene so won asomo no yede ni nyina nso beba. Bra Facebook/Adom TV. Fa comment ni go ho bra no so a yede betu dwa. Ye beto so wo mampani ni nkasa ye na nso emu na ene de yeguso a ye twen ahwe se September bosome de di kan ye mboders ahodo no ye bebie mu asede no a mampani Adodankwa editu dwa no wo muguso ene mpanifo wo mu sefata se wo mu tu wo mu fo no eguso den edi enkomo ahwe se bibia wiemu de de a ne ne September bosome de di kan ne de bia ne ye bie se de o kan no eni
Ebra Mampenny Ekufuado, any Ghana for any Ankitahudia ne Penya, etosu dunumuno, or the two just say, and paying for a yansha yese, Bosumi September, Yeba Birim Neda Edikaino, one bit me a B airport, was signed so edited just say, and paying for a yansha semi beya, Ubi Biara will be free man on the Ababi Recruimono, will bit me at Testino, I have said, O coronavirus, Yarini be, Senebeya, and shall see and sign and review. Yes, say, Ministry of Aviation, any Ghana Civil Aviation. Any ashe ya ehwe apomuden ho nsem so edin kita ho se ne be ya obetimi ahwe hunu se Ghana ya ahboa ta obebie airport no ana.
I know many still ask whether our borders, especially our international airport, Kotoka International Airport, will be open. Under my instructions, the Ministry of Aviation, the Ghana Civil Aviation Authority, and the Ghana Airports Company Limited have been working with the Ministry of Health and its agencies to ascertain our readiness to reopen our airport. I want to ensure that we are in a position to test every single passenger that arrives in the country to avoid the spread of the virus. The outcome of that exercise will show us the way and determine when we can reopen our border by air. I'm hoping that by God's grace, we'll be ready to do so by the 1st of September. Until further notice, our borders by air, land, and sea remain closed to human traffic. For Ghana residents stranded abroad, special dispensation will be continued to be given for their evacuation back to Ghana, where they will be subjected to the mandatory quarantine and safety protocols.
Omanpenny Adodanko Ekufuado esan so edi to just say sisei enipa dodo anko betimi edi ahyiamu ewo dwumadie biase no wasan amasubium edi akoso.
The limit on the number of persons who can attend conferences, workshops, and award events has now been lifted, subject to the maintenance of social distancing amongst participants, fresh air ventilation of the premises, and a 2-hour limit for each session.
Premotobre Kasee na guswa ocean yensan kwachi na de mampani kan yefa ene public ene private schools sa yebema womo aduane August bosome de to so dunu enan ekosi September 18th no yankwana president Ghana National Association of Private Schools one president yene no eni enkomo yenkwa homa no. So good afternoon and welcome to Adom TV Midday News.
Good afternoon, and thank you so much for this opportunity to speak to your listeners.
Thank you so much. So please, how do you welcome this news or statement from President?
Yes, thank you. Indeed, it is refreshing to hear that government now plans and thinks about private schools in their planning and execution of education policies. We are all aware of the situation in which private schools are right now, a situation where because of the long closure of schools, many private schools are facing difficulties. And one of the areas of difficulty is how to provide food for the Form 3 students at the GHS and SHS level. So to the extent that the president thinks about providing a hot meal for private school candidates, I think it is welcome news. It is very welcome news, and we hope that it can be well implemented.
So now you are working with the Gender Ministry. Have you been meeting or being today Monday? Have you met the minister and the way forward?
We are still waiting for them to come out with modalities for carrying out this directive of the president. Of course, it was only last night that the announcement was made. We still do not have the details about how they will go around it. Our only hope is that the food will not be provided from a centralized point. A few of our members are already calling to find out how it will be done. But we are hoping that the best way forward will be for resources to be provided to the private schools to provide the food on their own, or at best some raw foods for the schools to cook on their own rather than cooked food from some centralized point being distributed around the schools. There will be a lot of difficulties with that kind of system.
Okay, so teachers were not left out. Are you also okay with it?
Yeah, absolutely. The teachers can also teach on empty stomachs. And because we have not been able to pay their salaries over the past 5 months, it's really difficult for our staff who are working in the schools to ensure that the children are prepared for the exams. So in thinking about providing food for candidates, it's in the right direction that we should think about the staff as well, because they can't come to school and work on empty stomachs and still be able to deliver for our children to pass their exams.
Okay, Doc. So now it's about the reopening of school. What do you want the government to do about it? Should it be open now or then next year?
Yeah, we have made our position very clear. And you see, when the president was addressing the nation yesterday, he indicated that the active cases now are just a little over 1,000. So there is simply no justification for schools to remain closed. We have reached a point where we must all learn to get back to work and be able to battle with the virus. So we are not expecting anything anytime beyond September for reopening of schools. We are very much hopeful that after the university students have gone back, I guess on 24th of August,
yes,
the rest will have to follow. The preschool, the basic schools, senior high schools,
Doc,
all will have to follow in that order in September.
Doc, wearing of nose masks is not easy even for adults. So how much more kids? How can they wear it for maybe 2 or more hours? Do you think they can cope with it?
No, I mean, we have experimented this. Remember that we have final year JHS students are back in school. When they were coming back to school, it was always the same questions about how can children wear nose masks? How can they observe social distancing?
They are different from the kids.
I can even challenge you that kids are able to wear the mask longer than those of us who are adults and particularly the aged. You see, because they are able to breathe more easily with the mask on than those of us who are getting old.
Doc, are you talking from being a doctor or like how you see?
No. I'm not a medical doctor.
Oh, okay.
Yes, I have a doctorate in philosophy.
Okay.
Yes, but I am saying it from observation and from the little reading I've also done around. I am a school owner, a school manager. I have observed how the kids wear their nose masks, how they are able to settle down in class, how we are able to control them to enforce social distancing and washing of hands. You see, we've been able to do all of this quite well with the final years. And we have come to a point where we know, we are very confident that if these children come back to school, we will work and ensure that the COVID-19 doesn't spread among our school children.
But Doc, before I leave you, some parents are also saying it's because of your selfish interest, you want money and stuff. That's why you are pushing for school to be reopened.
I'm sure that it's very few parents who may be saying that. The vast majority of parents that we have interacted with support the resumption of academic work. Look, it's the parents that we will be assisting more than anyone else if we reopen schools. It's parents will be assisting. Why am I saying that? There are many parents who find it difficult now going to work, knowing very well that their kids are at home and probably there's no one to take care of their kids. There are parents who go to work and the children leave home. They don't know where the children are going to go to. They don't know what the children engage in while they are away. No one should ever think that it's because of our parochial business interests that we are calling for the opening of schools. Because you see, if schools reopen prematurely and the COVID-19 begin to surge again, what is going to happen is that they will close down schools for a much longer period of time. We know that. And we cannot risk asking them to reopen schools when the time is not ripe and mature for reopening of schools. It's just that we have done our analysis. We think that the time is ripe. And we are also concerned about the negative effect of this long closure on our academic, not just the academic calendar, but the academic output of our children. Yes. These are the reasons why we are calling for resumption of academic work. It's not because of our businesses collapsing.
Thank you so much, Doc, for your time this afternoon.
Yeah, it's an honor speaking on your stage.
You're welcome.
Thank you so much.
Na Ghana National Private Schools Association, wamujam tineni, ena otesi eni no edi enkomo no, eduane femu no wamoni agye ho na se yemie school no, wamsusu se yemie fi se enkura no kura no, ebetimi ahye nose mask no kura mpo yie, asense bi yempo empanifo no, san komo we na ewa, osi edi ho komo bebre ni enim se mpanifo so tu ho anamon, yebete bre potia mofra no, ebeko